Mr. Artis Pabriks, former Latvian defense and foreign minister. Sir, pleasure to have you with us. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Pleasure on my side. Thank you.
Let me start by asking you about security issues in Europe. Are we expecting any changes to the EU policy on that matter? What shall we look for?
Well, also in my country, of course, we have going on European Parliament elections, and security matters are one of the major topics discussed in these pre-election discussions. I would say that as far as security is concerned, the major direction what parties are trying to describe and discuss is their policy towards Ukraine. And Latvia, of course, is very much a Ukraine-supportive country. Secondly, it is a question about future European support for security and defense, which would include capabilities, military capabilities, and also financial support for military industry, and also European support for outside border, because we in our country, we are countries outside the EU and NATO border, and we, of course, would be happy, and citizens would be happy to have more European financial assistance to make this border safe against migrants or also against military threats.
That's right. All right. So there's a lot of momentum right now for security assistance to the eastern flank. A lot of things happening there. In Lithuania, we've got Baltops 24. I think the largest exercises to ever take place in that region. But now we just had exit polls coming out of the Netherlands. We had Geert Wilders' far-right party winning 7 seats. The left still taking 8, the Greens and Labour. But is there a danger that if more right-wing parties are elected to the European Parliament, is there a danger that this momentum might wane and that less assistance may be provided to the eastern flank?
Well, I think that it depends on what right-wing parties, because just to be to the right from the center, it's not crime, and I would say it's not even bad, in my personal view. The question is, are they taking some kind of negative stance against the military capabilities of European Union or NATO? Are they skeptical about NATO? Are they skeptical about Ukraine? Just because they are right-wingers, it's for me too early to say, because we will see it, I think, after governments will be formed and parliament will be formed, what exactly that means, right or left, because I have to remind you that also a number of left-wing parties are extremely skeptical about military aid to Ukraine and also about military capabilities. So the threat is actually from both sides.
That's right. The question is it only Hungary? Well, Hungary, of course, Fidesz is right-wing, but then we have the situation in Slovakia. This is a left-wing party that's in power, but they're against support for Ukraine and support for the military. So, yeah, it isn't exactly a right-wing thing at all, is it?
Precisely, and this is what worries our voters and citizens and also our politicians in the Baltic Sea region and Baltic countries, because we see that such type of governments, either right or left, if they're skeptical about Ukraine, then they are very, there is a large chance that they will be also quite skeptical about NATO and European Union and internal solidarity. And that might lead also for further quarrels between our countries within Union, which again will turn very beneficially for Moscow and Putin's policies, because Putin and Russia, they want a fragmentation of European Union. And these countries at this stage are unfortunately helping Moscow. That's a problem.
Right. Speaking about Russia and Russian influence on the EU, I wanted to ask about Mrs. Ždanoka, if I'm not mistaken, as she is from Latvia. So this was one case, but I mean, were there other cases of sort of people who are trying to influence? I mean, let's just say Russian agents or foreign agents working on behalf of Russia there in the country, in Latvia. Any recent developments?
Well, Ždanoka is basically out of context at this moment. She cannot anymore run for elections. But I would say that from 9 seats, which Latvia will fill in European Parliament, we could expect that 1 or 2 seats will be filled by parties which are kind of with a friendly views towards Moscow. So that would be 1 or 2 seats. But I must say that in many Western European and also, as we can see, Central European countries, there will be a lot of parliamentarians who probably will be looking similar to Moscow, like Orban or some Slovak leaders.
Right, but I mean, it's not so bad when it's out in the open. It is really bad when it's, hidden, right, instead of linked to corruption, among other issues.
Oh, yes, and you can expect that there will be a lot of trouble coming from such a hidden sources because Moscow and Russia will use all their means to influence NGOs, to influence separate politicians. But since we live in a legal and just societies, it's not always easy to prove it. And I would say also about European Parliament, I think there should be much better and clearer vetting, not only for MPs, but also for the employees of European Parliament.
All right, and moving forward, post-elections, obviously we'll see who wins what. But in your opinion, what's your view on moving towards a more common European foreign policy and European defense policy?
Well, first of all, I would say European defense policy should in no way be an obstacle to NATO security and defense policy. So they should work hand in hand, and there should not be a parallel structures, number one. Number two, I think very much discussion will be really about the real assistance, either, as I mentioned before, to the border or to the military industry and production lines, because we do not have at this moment industries which can really provide us with necessary goods in the needed time. And that is where Commission, European Union, and also European Parliament should and could contribute.
Most certainly. And I guess on this note, we're going to wrap up. Artis Pabriks, thank you, sir, for being with us this afternoon. Much appreciated.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir. A great pleasure.